So today we begin a series based on the work of Deepak Chopra, The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success. And I would like you to hear with me the words with which he begins the book. They are from the Upanishads. Listen with me. You are what your deep driving desire is. As your desire, so your will. As your will, so your deed. As your deed is, so your destiny. So as we begin this study, an examination of the 7 spiritual laws of success, it is a spiritual wisdom that comes not from our Christian heritage, if you have that heritage, and some of you may not, but it comes from a combination of many spiritual traditions, and in particular, Hinduism, into which Deepak Chopra was born. But it is, in fact, a spiritual wisdom that coincides so well with what we believe in unity. As we look at the 7 spiritual laws of success, even the title is perhaps a little mystifying to start with. So 2 terms I'd like to redefine for you and for myself. The first one is success. Success is the abundant flow of all good things to you. Let me say it again. Success is the abundant flow of all good things to you. Yes, it is material abundance as we often think of it, but it's also good health, energy and enthusiasm for life, fulfilling relationships, creative freedom, emotional and psychological stability, a sense of well-being, and peace of mind. So let's think of success in these terms as we begin this study. And then there's the word laws. How many laws are there? We've heard so many of them. You know, of course, some of the laws that might be familiar to you. The law of creation could be one of them. The law of attraction, which has been very popular and gotten a lot of play. The law of mind action, one of our unity tenets. Well, these laws are not tablets in stone, but they are the process by which the unmanifest becomes manifest. And let me say that again. Laws are the process by which the unmanifest becomes manifest. And we'll speak more about that. The very first law, and the first one that we will study, both here in looking at it and introducing it, and in our study groups throughout the week that will follow, is the law of pure potentiality. I remember hearing the phrase, "Kid, you've got great potential." Perhaps it was in a movie or in the lyrics of a song or just in homespun wisdom from one of my cohorts. "Kid, you've got great potential." And yes, that's an inspiring thought, but I think it is also a limiting thought. The idea of you've got potential may mean that you're not quite meeting that potential. You're a little bit deficient. You're not quite as good as you should be. We're not looking at potentiality in that way. We're looking at it as pure consciousness. Consciousness is a term that we often use. Consciousness, the sum total of our thinking and feeling and our experience. All of our experience is our consciousness. But pure consciousness is what we're going to talk about today. And we're going to equate that with pure potentiality. And that is making what is unmanifest manifest, bringing into manifestation a different take, perhaps, on bringing your desires to you. Well, in consciousness, you know, as we have talked before, that before you perceive anything, the germ of that happens in consciousness, within, if you will. And we know that if you want to change anything in your life, if you'd like to be successful at that change, the way to do it is to change your consciousness. And as you change your consciousness within, that can manifest in the world without. Our essential nature is one of pure potentiality. And the field of pure potentiality is yourself. And I say that self with a capital S. Chopra, in this first chapter of the 7 Spiritual Laws of Success, talks about what was a new concept to me when I first heard it, and a little confusing. He talks about self-referral and object referral. Self-referral is that big S self. It's looking to self, looking within, if you would, we would say, to the divinity, the way we were created, the perfection that we are, as a reference point to start with. And self-referral is, interestingly enough, when we engage in it completely, immune to criticism. It is unfearful of any challenge. It is beneath no one, and it is superior to no one. On the other side of the ledger, there is object referral. Object referral is when we allow the circumstances, the objects around us, to be the determining factor for us. We refer to that more than we refer to the spirit within, our true nature. Object referral is different and almost opposite of self-referral. It seeks approval. It is based in fear. It needs to control, and it needs external power. Self-referral is where we want to be. It is the realm of divine self. Object referral, looking out around us at other things, saying that they determine our reality, is a product of the ego, which is not really a self, but a false self that is built. And that ego, of course, as we all know, doesn't always steer us in directions that are positive. As a matter of fact, it goes counter to the truth that we often know. So when we are able to persist in self-referral, we have a power that's amazing, not a false sense of power, not one that has to lord it over anyone else, but one that is supported by nature, by the divine, because that's where it comes from. This is one of the beginning points of our study of the 7 Spiritual Laws of Success. And I like it because it makes me dig into area that I've not been in very much. It makes me go deeper. So I encourage you, as we move forward on this study this week, to connect with one of our groups that we'll talk about, one of our study groups. So we have 5 of them. And in those groups, to dig deeper into that and see how it applies in your life. I'm giving you only a taste of this. Couldn't put that whole chapter in the message this morning. But do join with us as we discuss that much more deeply. Deepak goes on to suggest that there are 4 ways that we can apply the law of pure potentiality. And here they are. 1 is silence. Silence, yes, by ceasing noise, not watching TV, not listening to music, not engaged in conversation, not even reading a book, which really is engaging in a conversation with the author. But silence, just silence. And that's a starting point that he proposes. And I like it. Second, he says, is meditation. That's taking that silence, and we often talk about that in Unity. Going into the silence was a habit of Charles Fillmore, one of our co-founders. Going into the silence, and there you move to that place where not only the things physically in your world around you are quiet, but the mind begins to be quiet. And that turbulent dialogue that often goes on within begins to still. Meditation. I hope you have a practice of meditation. Beyond the silence, which is where we begin, we move into meditation, where we are still. Be still and know that I am God is the quote that we often use. A third way for us to practice the law of pure potentiality is non-judgment. If you're a student of the Course in Miracles at all, or if you've been around it a little bit, you may remember the lesson in the Course that says, today I will judge nothing that occurs. Today I will judge nothing that occurs. So I think that Deepak is pointing us to an area that may take some work, but that is very, very fruitful as we're able to withdraw from judgment. What's good or what's bad, what's right or what's wrong, we can withdraw from that. And it opens the way for us to experience pure potential. And then the final way that he suggests is communing with nature, being in nature. So I was on my way down to the church this morning, and I realized I had an opportunity to engage with nature in a unique way as I passed Green Valley Park and the lakes on each side of the road. The geese were out and traversing from one side to another. And I realized as I sat there waiting for the geese to make their way across traffic that I was connecting with nature. I was being slowed down by those geese, and I could have gotten frustrated about that, but when I realized that I am one with nature, it took on a whole new flavor for me. And I realized that even in that simple place, I didn't have to be in the middle of a forest or sitting by a lake, but at any point I could engage with nature. And that's part of the great oneness that we are. So as we are able to engage in these steps, silence, stillness and meditation, withholding judgment, and being in nature, we open the door for the unmanifest to be manifest. We open the door to pure potentiality. And what does this mean? Tapping into our true essence, using the law of pure potentiality. Well, here are a couple of things that it means, and who would not want this? It means going beyond the ego. It means being fearless. It means being free. It means being immune to criticism, not fearing any challenge, beneath no one, superior to no one, and as Deepak puts it, full of magic, mystery, and enchantment. Please join us in this study of the 7 spiritual laws of success. And so it is.